Suren, welcome to Kick and Gags.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, real good.
Nice. All right, Hawthorn fan.
Yes.
Yes. How did that start?
Long time Hawthorn fan. I reckon since like 96, probably 95. So I went through the hard years.
Yeah.
But a bit of an accident, to be honest. My old man, born in Sri Lanka, grew up there, and then probably in his like uni days, he moved to London.
Right.
So he has no idea about AFL. Knows nothing. And I think what happened was one day I was like a little kid and I saw my dad. He was out in the garden and he was wearing like a jersey that was brown and gold.
Yeah.
And I thought that I recognized the colours. I was like, that's Hawthorn. Oh, Dad must go for Hawthorn. And so I started barracking for Hawthorn. And I don't know if you remember, but around 96, I think Wooden Spoon contention.
Yeah.
96, Hawthorn made the finals, but after that, 97, 98, they were dog shit.
Yeah.
Can I swear?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, yeah. And then it was only probably like one day I just asked Dad, I was like, what is that jersey? Is that a Hawthorn jersey? Because he never cared about footy, didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And it was like some jumper that a friend had given him in London that was like not even sport related. It was just like the design was brown and gold stripes. That's how I ended up going for Hawthorn.
Yeah, so he tricked you into...
Yeah.
Like through poor fashion sense because they're the worst colours.
Pretty much. Exactly. Maybe someone gave it to him as a prank one day. And that's how I ended up going for Hawthorn. But they were so bad. But, you know, there's something about like when you say that you go for a team and then they're shit, you can't jump off.
Yeah. No.
Because you gotta stick in there, and otherwise you're like, I don't know, you seem like a coward. So
Yeah.
I stuck with him, and you know what? It proved worth it.
Yeah, that paid off.
Yeah, it paid off. Yeah.
I don't know, but like it's you came on, I think, at the perfect time because like they were good in the 80s, right? So my just to let you know, my AFL knowledge goes back to about 2000.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
anything
right.
before
Yeah,
that, because I was born in 93. So
Yes.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I came online in 2000.
That's fair.
So
Yeah.
I only really remember Hawthorn ever being like pretty good throughout my entire life, which is really frustrating.
That's the thing is now I'll say I go for Hawthorn and people are like rolling the eyes because
Yeah.
there's so many bandwagon supporters. But I'm like, no, I'm a true crusted on. My dad bought the wrong jumper.
There might be another reason for that.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
assume that you...
But I'm born in 86, so
Yeah.
Hawthorn won then. So that's another. I can just say that. Yeah, they won the year I was born.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
true life supporter.
Yeah. So did you get to go to any of the grand finals?
Yeah. So another thing that all of it is just luck and someone giving Dad this time it was good advice.
Yeah.
Originally, it was a bad jumper. Now it's good advice. So when he moved here, because he works in like finance and stuff, and his colleague was like, "Oh, you should put your kids down for the MCC."
Oh, right.
Again, he didn't really know what that meant, but he did it, and yeah, now I'm a TOF. Like I'm now an MCC member, and I can't afford it, to be honest, but I keep it because you can't once you're on that list.
Yeah, you can't get rid of it.
Yeah, can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
So because of that, I was lucky enough to go see 2015. I lined up in 2013 and couldn't get in, I think, because I was still a restricted member.
Ah, right.
So I went to the 2012 one where we lost, and I went to 2015 where we won. And then
2013 you lined up and you couldn't get in.
up.
What do you do then if you just
You
go
get
home?
there, you get there real early, line up, and then they're like, "Sorry, guys," and we went home.
Fuck,
and
that'd be so demoralizing.
Everyone always is having like parties or whatever, or barbecues, so you know that you've got backup options. But pretty brutal because I went in 2012 when Hawthorn lost to Sydney, which was a great match, and it's bittersweet because it was the first time I'd ever been to a grand final, so it's very exciting. But then, heartbreaking to see a team lose, and then to not get in 2013 when we played Freo and. Like we won, and be like, oh my god, I'd change it any day. I'd swap it around, but yeah, it was so good. Lucky to get 3 stabs at it, and finally make it in 2015.
Well, how long were you lining up for? Like,
I reckon we got there at would have left the house at 6 a.m. Got to the MCG at about it's 6:45, and it's freezing.
Yeah,
and then in that queue till the gates open at 11 a.m. and then they're like, sorry guys, too many actual members have showed up.
Yeah,
and
right.
So turn it away, because that's what they do. They're like, if it's what year was that? That would have been Hawthorn Fremantle. So we thought we had a chance because Fremantle wouldn't have many people in the members.
Yeah.
But Hawthorn has heaps of people in the members. And
man.
They wait to see, and then if a bunch of full members are rocking in, they just call it.
So it's it's not, you just didn't get there early enough. It's like they
I guess they're like, they kind of give you, they're like, hey guys, you can line up if you want, but we're expecting the members to be full. And most years, a lot of the time as well, people have MCC membership. They just go, I do it now.
Yeah.
So there's probably people, some years there's people who are like diehard Tigers fans but not yet full members.
Yeah.
And then I'm in there with no skin in the game. But I'm like, I'm paying $500 for this membership. I'm going on the last Saturday of September. You know what I mean?
Jeez. I mean, what about 2008? Did you get to?
Didn't get a ticket in 2008, and that was because there was like a surprise that Hawthorn got to the grand final.
Yeah.
And that day was amazing. I'm crazy. Just at a mate's barbecue, and I remember not even thinking Hawthorn would just get pumped because Geelong was so good.
Yeah.
But I was in shock that day. I think at the end of the game, everyone just was still drinking and went to kick the footy in the park, and I think I just sat in front of the TV, just like not even, I couldn't process what had happened. It was so crazy.
Because that would have been the first one you've seen, right?
Yeah. First one. Yeah, exactly. Because I think Hawthorn won in 1991, but I probably was still too young. I wasn't following them then. I didn't really know much about footy then. I was a big cricket kid growing up in a Sri Lankan household. But 2008, it was surreal. I just remember a lot of people will go through their whole life without even winning a flag, you know. And then,
I never thought I was going to see one.
Who do you barrack for?
D's.
Oh yeah, amazing. Yeah.
I've talked about that a lot.
I mean, it doesn't count, you know. It's like over in Perth or whatever.
Well, that's the whole thing. Like, I guess I have seen one, but I didn't get to go. So I kind of feel I didn't get to be in the same city, like around other people. Really, I was just around my family and stuff, which was fine. But it would have been nice to, you know, at the very least, go down Swan Street and break some windows or something in celebration.
Yeah, exactly.
But so hopefully this year I get to do that. So cricket though. So you do a lot of. I've seen you do some cricket stuff.
Yeah, more recently I just got this. I got real lucky during the T20 World Cup. One of my friends was like working behind the scenes doing all the event stuff.
Yep.
And he knew that I was into like announcing and whatever. So I got to be a ground announcer at the SCG. Did it at the SCG and down at Cardinia Park.
Oh,
during the World Cup, and one of the best experiences of my life. It was wild. I was like on the turf of the SCG.
Yeah,
which is, by the way, like MCG is the best stadium in the world, but SCG for watching cricket.
Yeah,
because when you're announcing at the ground. Every time you're on the big screen in between, especially T20, they're trying to keep it all lively and energetic.
Yeah.
So you have to keep running around to different parts of the stadium to meet the fans and stuff.
Right.
And we had this producer with us. Her name's Kylie Ann. She's like a legend in all sports producing stuff. She'd be walking around with us, and like Gilly would walk past, or like. Yeah, whoever, all these superstars would walk past and they'd be like, hey, KA. And everyone knew her. And so she would take us around. She'd know all the secret tunnels to get around the SCG. Wherever we went in the ground, you had the perfect view of the match. Like, it's such a great stadium for watching cricket. Anyway, the whole experience was crazy. Just constantly, I was on the ground and then Brett Lee walks past. I got to interview Brett Lee. Like, Indian greats are there and seeing like Sri Lanka play England and the fans just going wild. It was really so much fun.
Yeah. So what are you like announcing? So you're just like doing the fan engagement stuff?
Yeah, I'm just the guy. Actually, it's such a funny.
I'm just the guy.
It's such a funny gig because I'm basically the MC at the game.
Right.
But most of the MC work is like before anyone's even in the stadium.
Yeah.
So the game will start at 6, and our first like call time was 4 p.m. and at 4 p.m. you're like, hey guys, welcome to today's T20 match, and you're going through like the tables and the standings and telling everyone the rules.
And there's one guy.
Yeah, it's like one keen Sri Lankan dude who's like there with his kids, and that's it. And they don't even care. But it's so fun because, like during the match, you're just trying to hype the crowd up as much as you can, especially because it's T20. Yeah. And so there'd be a cameraman following you, and you'd find people and you'd be like, hey, at the end of this over, we're going to get you on the big screen. And especially the matches where the South Asian countries were playing, so India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, their fans just, I don't know, they thought it was like live TV rather than just the big screen. So they would just swarm down, and it would just be chaos. They'd be waving the flags, and when it's Sri Lanka, they'd have the drums and the trumpets and stuff. So much fun. So yeah, the energy there was just wild. It was great.
Were there any weird moments? Because like I was talking to, we had Sarah Cameron on the show last week, and she was talking about, because she does on the ground fan engagement stuff too, but we'll talk. Like, I asked her if there's like, can you bomb in front of like 100,000 people, like when you're just doing the fan engagement stuff? And it's like, when you have to announce that the kick to kick after the game is cancelled. But was there anything like that for you?
There were a few moments. I mean, a couple of the matches it rained, and then you have to be the
fill
guy. Space.
Oh,
like
just do a setup.
Yeah. I mean, if they'd let me, I would have done it. But like sometimes the worst thing, the most embarrassing thing that I did was they because in T20 it's like they're trying to recreate an NBA atmosphere or whatever, and they do like the big count in before the first ball. Yeah, which is in any other sport a countdown to like the siren or a countdown to like kickoff or the tip is so exciting. Yeah. But in cricket, like it's a countdown to, you do the big 10-9-8 thing, and then there's just a guy runs in, and it's like so anticlimactic. He runs in, and then it bowls, and then everything stops and it starts again. You know, like why don't count down every fucking ball? But so the countdown is huge, though. They insist on doing it, and they want to get the whole crowd into it. And I was like, there's always two of you. It was always me and like a beautiful lady. Because the ground announcers are always, everyone's attractive, but I think I was just there for diversity or whatever. But I was, because they were always like, you've got the big booming voice, so you do the countdown.
Yeah, right.
And a few times I counted before too early. Like, because there would be, the numbers would come on and it just slightly delayed. Yeah. And the guy would be in my ear and he'd be like, ready, go, go, go. And then I'd count in before. Yeah.
So you're trying to match up with what's on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. I was picturing you're like matching up with the bowler. Like you're just making eye contact.
The bowlers wait for you. That would be great though. Yeah. But it is so, it's like, it is crazy to have it for cricket because it's like the umpire, the TV people who broadcast have to tell the umpire when they're ready because it's all got to go based on broadcast. Yeah. So then the umpire tells KA, who's the producer, the ground producer, and then the guy up in the thing, he's in my ear and he's like, okay, go, go, go. And then you do it. But like sometimes you can't hear him because the crowd's screaming so loud. Yeah. And then, and anyway, you do this countdown. It's like 10, 9, 8. And everyone's going crazy, and then it stops, and then the umpire's like, okay. And then this guy runs in and bowls. It's so weird. But it's fun because I've never seen anything like it. Like I've been to Grand Final Day, I've been to Anzac Day. Atmosphere at the MCG is insane. But these matches where there's like passionate Sri Lankan or Bangladeshi fans, it's just a whole different thing. It's like
atmosphere,
religion to them. You know what I mean? They wear their heart on their sleeve. Everything is, the emotion in every single moment is crazy. Yeah, I can't imagine what it would have been like to be at the India-Pakistan match at the MCG. Just people are screaming they don't stop screaming. They're so excited to be there. It's just, it's beautiful.
Well, I've never actually even been to cricket match, to be perfectly honest. And I
really?
couldn't even imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the biggest? So was that the biggest game you've been to, like the T20?
That's the because I only did the SCG ones.
Yeah.
Biggest cricket match. I went to the World Cup final at the MCG once, but that was like Australia, New Zealand, and I think actually it was during Comedy Festival.
Right.
I had my show in the middle, so I watched the first innings, and then in the innings break I ran to the city and did my show, and then I came back like halfway through the second innings.
Yeah.
But Australia won it so convincingly.
Yeah.
And the finals is often like the grand final AFL as well. It's like often very corporate environment.
Is that what it was like?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if people, a lot of it is just they've sold these packages to corporates, and so atmosphere isn't as intense. But that India-Pakistan match, I wish I got to be there. I think Nazim Hussain was the ground announcer.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, I think that game sold out in like minutes.
Yeah. Oh,
and people were flying in from because India.
I think I remember being in the city when that was going on. And I was like, it was insanity. It was like a really cool energy. But like, because I've never, like, I'm not a huge cricket guy. It was just kind of weird and confusing to me. But I'm like, it's nice.
Yeah. Mildly inconvenient. Yeah. But people were flying in from all over because India and Pakistan never get to play each other.
Yeah.
And you just, it's almost like, I was so sad that there's that conflict and they can't host a game where in their home countries. Then you see when they play each other here, it's so the passion gets converted, like it just becomes, it shows how much of a vehicle sport can be for like uniting people, because it's like channel the energy into that and it becomes cricket. One of the best matches of all time. And
yeah, man, that's crazy. So you're Sri Lankan.
Yes.
But is there a team, like going back to footy, is there like a team that Sri Lankans go to? Because like I feel like Filipinos don't really have a team that we all go to. But then there's other like.
It's a great question. I know that Hawthorn has like really made efforts to reach out to the Chinese community.
Yeah.
Especially because they're based out of Waverley Park.
Yeah, right.
And I think like around they recognise that around Glen Waverley and that kind of area, there's like a big, strong Chinese community. I don't know about Sri Lankans, but I do know that Dilruk Jayasinghe, who's like one of the biggest comedians in the country, he's huge Hawthorn fan,
right?
Purely by coincidence, because we've known each other since before doing comedy, and he's a huge Hawthorn fan, and I feel like if they ever wanted an ambassador to reach out to the Sri Lankan community, Dill would be the perfect guy.
He's the guy.
Yeah, he's the guy, and I don't see it as a bad idea because like Sri Lankans love sport.
Yeah.
And they obviously love the MCG, the cricket connection. It makes a whole lot of sense, I think, for the club.
Yeah, I mean, it's perfect, like winter, summer thing. So, do you ever go to Sri Lanka and like, have you been to Sri Lanka?
I've only been once.
You've only been once?
Yeah. So my folks are like, dad is Sinhalese and mum's Tamil.
Okay.
And they're two sides of like the ethnic conflict that was in Sri Lanka. And so I think they were like, we'll just raise our kids here and not really take them back. And then after the conflict ended, we went and I loved it and I'd love to go back. But I feel it was a bit weird going there and not speaking any of the language.
Yeah.
And you get there and you like look like everyone. And you're like, this is really nice. But then they're like, you're not one of us.
Well, I'm the same. Like I've been back to the Philippines a few times. And like I understand Tagalog, but I don't speak it. So they make fun of my accent a lot. But then I've also been to like I did a month in Thailand. Like I had like a lot of moments where like Thai people thought that I was Thai and would start speaking to me in Thai, and then I would speak and they're like, that's not even like Filipino. Like, it's weird to, and so, because they're speaking to me in Thai, I'm like, sorry, English. And then it's like, what are you doing? Like, they're like mad.
Yeah.
Like,
that's not my fault, man.
But did you get to like catch any like cricket matches over there?
I would see a bit of park cricket. which is fun. I've never been to any like professional matches over there.
Yeah.
But I think that would be amazing. I remember like, this is not Sri Lanka, but I was going to Edinburgh to do the Fringe before COVID.
Yep.
And one year, the most recent year I was in Edinburgh was during the Ashes. And that was the atmosphere. Just, I didn't get to go to the matches, but just seeing like the passion the English fans had and Australia, and it was a tight contest that year in the Ashes, and it was so fun being around it. So I think it would definitely be so great to go overseas and just be, I don't know, one of those tours where you're just following around the Australian team.
Yeah.
And especially in England, but also touring around India maybe would be crazy.
Yeah.
It'd be so fun. I guess that's one thing that when AFL goes international, how sick will that be?
Yeah. I mean, like they have tried. They went to China.
Maybe it's too confusing for people. People who don't grow up with AFL are always like, it's just so...
Yeah, like what is happening?
Yeah.
Like,
but to me, it's so innate. I'm like, it makes so much sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
It makes way more sense than rugby.
it does. Like, I still don't really understand rugby too much. But
I know. And I lived in Sydney for 10 years.
Yeah, so did you adopt a NRL team?
Nah.
No. You just refuse to learn.
Yeah, well, the thing about Sydney is when the Swans are doing well, footy's popular.
Right.
And I was living at the start. I was living in like the eastern suburbs, which is a bit bougier in Sydney.
Okay,
and the bougier,
congratulations.
Yeah, it was by fluke. But the bougier parts of Sydney, they like AFL. I think there's like a kind of class thing to it. It's like,
okay.
we're a bit more refined, so we like AFL.
Yeah,
and then but when Sydney Swans aren't doing well, you wouldn't hear about footy at all.
Right.
But it's still...
But when aren't the Swans doing well, like really?
But I mean, like, even if they're just doing okay, you wouldn't hear about it. You'd only hear about it if, like, they're on the top of the table.
Right.
And they're about to be in, grand finals or stuff.
Yeah.
So it's hard. You have to really pay attention to stay up with what's going on in AFL. But it's still, even despite that, I don't know. Rugby's just like... I still just see it as a dude running with and...
That's all. That's most sports. It's just a dude running.
Yeah, I don't know. AFL, I'm always like impressed by the skills and the sort of, I don't know, just how versatile each role is. The little guy who can get in and under, the big ruck who's got to like.
I like to think it's just the organized chaos of it because like it's pretty much chaos. Like I don't like. I was having this convo with, so you know Robbie Campbell back in the day. Robbie Campbell, I used to work with him, and he does a lot of like coaching stuff. So he works with a company called Rookie Me. And I remember having this conversation with him. I'm like, because he knows, obviously you played professionally and stuff. I was just asking him about like the level of like comparing it to soccer, like in terms of like strategy and set plays and that kind of thing. It's like, is there that level of organization in footy? And it's like, to be honest, not really. Like it's literally just trying to like work your way, like have a plan for the chaos. But it's like it is a chaotic sport at heart, and you just got to do a bunch of like a little bit of like organization to control some sort of chaos.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I mean, I guess it could. Do you reckon it's because there's so many people on the field?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
and the field's fucking massive.
It's massive.
Like and that like, have you had that moment where you've had to try to explain footy to somebody that's not a footy fan? Like,
and I mean, to be honest, even moving to Sydney, because the thing about AFL is they're always adding new rules.
Yes.
And so I reckon there's probably 50 new rules that I just haven't been paying attention to. That now if someone tried to explain them to me, I'd be like, yeah, actually this is quite complicated.
Yeah.
But the fundamentals of it is like, I feel like there's so much athleticism in it, and there's so much just little fine skills that when you have to have tried to kick a footy and played footy as well to appreciate how good
100%
some of the things they're doing are.
Yeah.
And just when you see just little like Cyril Rioli,
Yeah.
slick, and just kind of weaving in and out, and then being able to control the ball, kicking it, that weird shaped ball, controlling it off his foot and all of that. It's like, I don't know, this has to be the best sport in the world.
Yeah, no, 100% it is. Yeah. There's a little bit of debate here at Zero Hanger because we also have Zero Tackle, which is more NRL focused.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a little bit of code wars. But I think I kind of like that about AFL, like that it is only localized to not even just Australia, but like literally like 4 states in Australia.
Yeah.
Where it's like the focus.
It's funny when because I growing up in Victoria, it is a religion here.
Yeah.
And then moving to Sydney, it's like sort of like just a thing that
it exists. Yeah.
Yeah. So I always thought Victoria was like footy obsessed, but then I remember going to Perth. I used to be an accountant. I had to travel around a bit. And being in Perth, it's like, Victoria's like nothing compared to how they take footy there.
Yeah.
But especially because it's a small city and the Eagles are around all the time. People will just be seeing them out and about.
Yeah.
And it's like they're walking around with their gods,
Yeah.
and they're taking it real serious. It's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, that's the same in Melbourne though. Like I feel like, because I live in Richmond and work in Richmond now, and I just see footy players around all the time. Like I saw Dion Pressier at Coles last night.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, he's kind of a meatball.
Yeah.
Do you get intimidated? Like, have you met a lot of footy players and stuff? Do you get starstruck at all?
I would get starstruck. I haven't met too many footy players. Probably the most exciting thing that's happened to me is one year I was doing a festival show in a pretty small room during the comedy festival.
Yep.
And there's like I just noticed this real tall guy up the back of the room, and he was just sort of towering over everyone. Didn't think much about it. Then at the end of the show, I like shake everyone's hand at the end of the show, and this guy walked out, and sometimes I'll be shaking someone's hand and I don't get to everyone because they're streaming out. But the tall guy walked out and I looked and I was like, that fucking looks like Paul Salmon.
Right.
Who's great Essendon, Hawthorn, ruckman.
Yep.
And I was like, it can't be. Afterwards I saw him sort of leaving the venue and I was like, oh my God, I think that is Paul Salmon. And I don't know if I still have it, but I was actually like, I have no idea why he would have come to see my show. I reckon maybe Luke Heggie was sold out or something and they just picked the one next door. But I had to message him and this is a bit self-indulgent.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if he still follows me. But I sent him a message just saying thanks for coming along. And I said I started following AFL as a youngster around the time you joined the Hawks, so it's surreal.
You sent him a whole like essay.
Yeah.
Like you told him your feelings.
Yeah, you have to. And then I just said thanks again. And then he was like, he sent me the nicest message back. I feel like it's too self-indulgent to read it, but it was beautiful. It's probably the highlight of my career, I reckon. And that year, I just
that's a full like. Okay, so maybe we'll get a screenshot of it.
Yeah, I can send you a screenshot.
Like that's a full. Like that's a full love letter.
It is. But it was just so surreal, and I just literally got a 2-star review from the Herald Sun, which was
but a 5-star review from Paul Salmon.
So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what means more.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Wow. So you had like because if like Christian Petrarca ever came to one of my shows, I would die. No, I totally understand that now. And then now I think about it, if Petrarca came to one of my shows, I would send him probably a message that's like 4 times longer than that.
Yeah. And I mean, you're not thinking straight as well. You're like, oh my God, that was Paul Salmon.
Was that immediately after the show?
Pretty much.
Yeah. You got to.
Because I felt like I don't know. The show had gone well that night.
Yeah.
I reckon if the show had gone badly, I would never have reached out at all. But yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't think of anything worse than bombing in front of like a hero or something. Like,
yeah. Which I've done.
Yeah.
Because especially like comedy heroes or whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, comedy heroes, I don't think I would care too much because, like, if they're comedians, I would know.
They would get it?
Yeah, would get it, yeah.
I mean, you say that.
Yeah,
a lot of, people are always like, yeah, we get it. And
yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. I've seen people bomb and judged him.
Yeah.
I shouldn't. Like you say, I should know, but it's hard sometimes.
Yeah. Where have you bombed in front of a comedy hero before?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Anyone you want to?
I'm trying to think now if there's any. Yeah, I mean, even like, I can't think of any specific stories.
You just know. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's also like, it's not the bombing part of it. It's more like when you're bombing and then there's like a neediness that creeps in where you want them to know that you're like, it's not always like this. Yeah. That's the real bomb.
Yeah.
And I've done that, but maybe once or twice. And
the follow up after is the bomb.
Yeah. Whereas if you sort of bombing and you're just taking it in your stride and just commit to it, then it's fine. I had to do this thing. I'm not even sure if I'm meant to talk about it, but I had to, for some experiment thing that we for a little TV thing, we wanted to prove that AI could never do comedy,
right?
As in, like, or just the broader point is that, like, you can't. Creative stuff will always be
can't be replaced by AI. Yeah.
So I got ChatGPT to write a set, and I did it at the Comics Lounge in front of like 300 people.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I committed to it, and it was bombing because it's ChatGPT writing comedy. But I committed to it as though it was the best set ever written.
Do the audience know that it's written by? Okay. Yeah.
So this was the experiment.
Oh, no.
And so I bombed for 5 minutes, but I committed to it.
Yeah.
And it was, if you commit to a bomb, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's only when you need, but it was easy because it was someone else's words as well. Like I wasn't, it didn't feel like they were judging me. It felt, but
then,
but they were,
especially at the Comics Lounge, because they have your huge name behind you. And
I forgot that bit, and then when I went on stage, I was like, "Oh my god!" And it was filmed and stuff. But I reckon people were so confused.
Yeah,
because I was delivering it like it was the best material ever.
Yeah,
but I think that's it taught me. I'm like, that's how you have to bomb now.
Yeah.
Just for your own pride.
Have you ever done a AFL gig, like a corporate, like a footy club even?
No, I'd love to, especially because I'm MCC, you know. Often they do them in there. No, I'd love to. I think I've done footy clubs and stuff like that, like private stuff.
How do you like those?
I mean, I think there's an art to them that it's like a few years into comedy now, I understand that in those kind of environments, it's like you got to tailor it to them. Yeah. Make it about them. Find out who the big dog is. Yeah. And take them down.
Go after them. Yeah.
Where, you can't just be doing your regular stuff.
Yeah.
Which is fine. And like, I don't know, I play in a cricket club and stuff, and the club room environment's so fun. Yeah. And so social. It can be a great place to play with, but yeah, you've got to come to them. You know what I mean? Yeah, because they all know each other. Yeah, there's already someone in there who thinks they're the funny guy. Yeah, and they're gonna try to challenge you. So if you can wreck them, then you've won. Like that's the approach. Yeah.
Well, that's the difference, right? It's like they're a team. Like, because if you do a normal gig, it's 300 people that don't know each other. Yeah. And they're only there just to see comedy. But if you're doing a team, like, they're hanging out every week.
Yeah.
And they're most they probably see you as like an opponent.
There's a dynamic there. It's like Christmas parties or whatever. There's all in an office thing. There's always someone who's like, secretly they think they could do comedy. Yeah. And if you find out who that person is,
in this office, it's me.
Yeah. Well, that's not a secret. That's yeah. Or like if you make fun of the CEO or whatever, they'll be a bit pissed off, but you'll do well. Everyone will love you.
Yeah, every job that I've had, like they try to make you do the Christmas party, like try to do a set. I'm like, that's not how this works.
Yeah. I'll do other Christmas parties.
Yeah, I would never do that.
Yeah.
So bringing it back to footy, we might wrap up in about 5. But so the Hawthorn this year, how are you feeling about the Hawks?
Yeah,
Hawks this year with Sam Mitchell
Probably bottom of the table, maybe. But I also, because I just feel so lucky that I was there following him through the three-peat.
Yeah.
And that team, so many heroes from that team, you know, like Cyril and Hodgie and the whole team, basically, Ruffy. Such a blessed era that I feel like kind of greedy, I guess, to want success. Yeah. Anymore. So I'm happy for the team to rebuild if it takes a few years.
Yeah.
There is something though about being at like the youngest team and just getting cleaned up every week. Yeah. It's like, I wonder how much they're learning from this.
Yeah.
Because, you know, does it like instill this defeatist attitude?
Yeah.
But I guess the infrastructure of the club, there's so many people that were there during the successful years that hopefully they are able to make the kids focus on the positives, you know what I mean, and focus on the learning and the growth. Because I feel like there's some clubs, I don't know, Matt Stewart, who's, you know, friend of the pod and a good mate of mine.
Fan, yeah.
Big Saints fan. He's like an institutionalized loser, you know. He is. He's like, he can't, I don't think he's ready to win. I don't think he knows what emotions, how to process the emotions of victory.
Yeah.
And so he's happy to just be a loser for his whole. So I hopefully that Hawthorn's the opposite, where they're like, this is just a phase we're going through, and the kids know that, and they're just focusing on building skills and getting experience and pushing through it. But who knows?
Yeah. Well, I think that's a fun time as a fan of any club, because I remember as I'm a D's fan, so I've been through it all, man. But when we were like just shit and just shit, like that wasn't fun at all. But then when Ruzi came in and then we were like building towards something, like you could see the plan in place, but we were still pretty shit. Like that first year, Paul Ruzi's tenure as coach, that was a really fun time to be a fan, because like the expectations were super low.
Yeah.
But there's like things to look forward to. And then we eventually got really good. And now when we lose now, I'm like, man, if that loss was like 10 years ago, I'd be so happy with that loss. But now I'm like a spoiled child. And I'm like, oh, 100%. Disgusting.
The rebuilding phase is exciting. And there's so many exciting players on the list. And like Jath, the things he can do. Yeah. You're like, fuck, this is exciting, man.
Yeah.
And I'd totally be happy to sit in this phase of exciting hope rather than being like that team that's mid-table, that's like pushing for the finals and just misses. You know, like Carlton last year.
Oh, man.
I've good mates who are Carlton fans, and they started the season and looked like they were on track for something huge, and then we just shat the bed in the last 2 weeks or whatever. Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I would, if I can avoid that for as long as possible, that would be great.
Yeah. You just want a steady rise. You don't want to like get there and then not quite get there for like years, but
just hanging in that middle. I mean, I wonder what it would be like to be a Geelong fan, where they're just always
good.
Like what you're saying with Sydney. It's just man,
that would be nice.
Pretty good.
Right. So Sydney Comedy Festival.
Yes.
Yeah,
doing I think 3 shows, May 4th, 5th, and 7th or something like that.
And the show. So I saw the name of the show. I didn't quite get it. I feel like there's something to it. So Bag of Vegeta.
Yeah, it's called the Bag of Vegeta, which is a pun on the Bhagavad Gita, which is like a spiritual Hindu book.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a thematic conceptual show this year, but I'm having a lot of fun doing it in Melbourne, and can't wait to do it in Sydney.
Yeah, awesome. Do you know your dates? Huh?
Yeah, May 4th, 5th, and 7th, I think.
Awesome. All right, and where can the people find you
online?
Socials.
Yeah. Instagram's probably where I'm most active, at Suren Comedy.
Awesome. All right, Suren.
Beautiful.
Thanks for coming on Kick and Gags.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers. What an amazing, incredible, inspiring episode of Kick and Gags. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, or, follow us on all the socials and all that sweet stuff that really helps with everything that we do. And you can always catch the latest AFL news at zerohanger.com.au. I've been Phoenix Trinidad. Good night. Goodbye. See you later.